Welcome to AfriFreedom Channel, your #1 platform for unapologetically bold conversations about Africa's leadership, sovereignty, and development. If you haven't already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more relevant and powerful updates like this one. And please engage with us in the comments. Let us know your thoughts, your hopes, and your concerns, but do so respectfully. We value every voice in this Pan-African dialogue. Disclaimer. The views presented in this video are for educational and informational purposes only. They do not necessarily reflect the views of AfriFreedom Channel or its team. This content is not intended to incite political action or endorse any specific political figure or party. Viewer discretion is advised. In an era where leadership across Africa often fails to meet the people's basic expectations, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso is emerging as a striking exception.
Ibrahim Traoré is setting a standard, he's setting an example, and he's setting a pace that puts the rest of Africa to shame. I mean, I told UCT students the other day, you have me here talking about decolonization and decoloniality and all of that. You go from one conference to the other. But are we doing anything about it? I don't see Traoré calling conferences. I just see him making decisions and say, what decoloniality is this. I'm taking our control of our minerals. I'm taking control of this, taking control of that. I'm switching our allegiances because I find more possibilities here than I do there. I'm walking away from France. I'm breaking the ties and the chokehold of coloniality through France in my country. I'm giving my young people new opportunities. I'm giving them a new vision. He's a young man with a vision. No other African leader. Well, maybe now, those who are being awakened by him. But that kind of singular vision, that kind of singular dedication, that kind of way, you say, if I want to create a revolution that serves my people, I first have to learn to love my people. He has that. I sense that in Sankara. I sense that in the leaders. I sense that.
His actions are not just symbolic, they are foundational, structural, and revolutionary. Traoré is not only speaking against neocolonialism, he is actively breaking its chains by taking control of Burkina Faso's mineral wealth. In a region long exploited by foreign interests, this is a bold and necessary move. Ask yourself, if one man in one of the poorest nations on the continent can begin to reclaim control over his country's resources, what are the excuses of the richer, more stable African states? Why are so many African governments still allowing foreign powers to dictate the terms of our economic survival? Can a continent truly rise without first reclaiming its wealth? Beyond rhetoric, Captain Traoré is walking the talk. In Burkina Faso, he is frequently seen at the forefront of groundbreaking ceremonies and commissioning of completed projects. One recent example is the commissioning of a new cashew processing plant aimed at adding value to agricultural exports, creating jobs, and building national self-reliance. This is not a leader hidden behind palace gates, this is a man of the people leading by example. Where are the other leaders? When last did your head of state personally oversee a community benefiting project, not just in the capital city but across the country? Why are most of our leaders content with foreign loans, donor dependency, and white elephant projects that benefit no one? Is it not time Africa redefined what true leadership looks like? Under Traoré's leadership, the Burkinabe military has undergone significant transformation. New aircrafts have been supplied and military bases have been constructed, strengthening national security and signaling to both internal and external threats that the era of a vulnerable Burkina Faso is ending. In a continent where foreign...
Since President Traore came to power, the Air Force has held a prominent place in the Armed Forces Equipment Plan. We have received combat aircraft. We have received new aircraft dedicated to intelligence gathering. We have received maneuver aircraft, and we have received in virtually every category of combat new assets that allow us to meet the needs of the population and to fight against terrorism. And to deploy these resources, we have also benefited from the opening of 2 new air bases, which allow us to have greater flexibility in the field, to be closer to the areas of operations, and to have greater capacity to meet the needs and expectations placed on an air force in the field. And to put all of this into action, it was necessary for us to be reinforced in terms of personnel, and this was also addressed through recruitment. The members of the army were mainly trained abroad, which did not allow us to have sufficient numbers. With the President's leadership, we now have the ability to train our personnel locally here through the creation of our own Air Force schools. Some of these schools are already operational, while others are still being established. But this gives us a real capacity to provide training that meets our needs, training that produces personnel with the skills we truly require on the ground, here and now.
The efforts in equipment have also made it possible to significantly strengthen the units of the National Gendarmerie and the National Police. Today, these internal security forces have the necessary resources to fully play their role in the defense and security of the national territory.
Over the 2 years in question, specifically from October 2022 to October 2003.
Military bases litter the soil in the name of partnership. Traore is building indigenous capacity. He is arming his own people to protect their land, their resources, and their sovereignty. This begs a critical question: why must African security be outsourced? Why do so many African countries rely on foreign troops while their own armies are underfunded, poorly trained, or deliberately weakened? Can true independence exist without the power to defend it? These developments in Burkina Faso demand our attention, not because the country is perfect, but because its current trajectory offers a glimpse of what is possible when leadership aligns with the will of the people and the interest of the nation. Captain Ibrahim Traoré is not just setting an example, he is setting a pace. He is showing Africa what determined, courageous, and people-centered leadership looks like in real time. But the question remains, will other African leaders rise to this challenge, or will they remain complicit in the continued exploitation of our continent? If you found this video insightful, let us know in the comments. Do you believe Africa is ready for a wave of leaders like Traoré? What do you think is holding your country back? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to AfriFreedom Channel. Let's keep this conversation alive. We are the voice of the new Africa, informed, bold, and unafraid. Stay tuned for more thought-provoking content, because the journey to a free and self-determined Africa is just beginning.